Good morning, my happy hour back. Here's the plan. It is day 234 on this building process, which in itself is bonkers because it feels like we only started about 3 weeks ago. But it's a big day because today is the first day that we're going to see some kind of finishing on this house. Well, if you exclude the roof. Real finishing, final surface. I will show you very shortly where that is. What could possibly go wrong? Before we get to that finishing thing, we're back on catch basins again. There was a question, I think it was from Clint, who said, are there going to be any kind of covers over these catch basins? Yes, there will be. While we're here, I still get quite a number of comments about these downspouts and what are we going to do with these downspouts. I have covered this before, but I know we do get some new people watching these videos, and some of you naughty people may have watched previous videos where I've mentioned it but skipped over. But what we're going to do to start with is we're going to try painting them to see if they'll blend in with whatever the finish is on the outside walls. If we're not happy with that, then we will move on to plan B, which would be encasing them in a Hardiflex something, probably a rectangular tube, something that hopefully makes them blend in more. But that is plan A and plan B, plan B for these downspouts, and that applies to all the ones at the back and to the couple that are at the front by the front door. If very bright lights affect you, look away for a moment. But over here, Oliver is back on creating the bases for bathroom wash basins. In all of the bathrooms, those bases will be floating. In other words, they won't extend down to the floor, they will just be attached to the walls and, I suppose, give the appearance of floating above the floor. But this is the third one that they're working on. Melvin, having just adjusted his headgear, is working again on this ceiling area, which is just here, the bit between the top of the stairs and the entrance hall. So sanding down where the mud and tape was done, prior to either applying another coat of mud, or I'm not sure, they may go straight to painting. We are inside the walk-in closet for the master bedroom, and we've got O'Donnell and Original Rico preparing the floor in here to start working on the screed, the topping, which Stephen P has helpfully pointed out is mentioned in a song by Genesis. Who knows the full name of that song? And no going off and Googling Genesis screed, that's cheating. Who actually knows off the top of their heads? I 100% did not. The balcony for the master bedroom. Coelito has been again doing a little bit of cleanup first thing this morning and getting ready to add the waterproofing compound on here. And once again, for those that haven't seen it in earlier episodes, I will show you the container that it comes in. It's this one. Boyson Plexibond Cementuous Waterproofing System. That's a rather grand name. Here it is on Jack's balcony. The room at the, what is this, the northwest corner of the house. The very first finishing to be done in this house. They are putting the tiles on this balcony floor. We'll go and have a slightly closer look in just a moment. Now, I have seen enough of other building videos to know that the tile laying process that is used here is often questioned, because I think in a number of cases people say that the amount of base covering that goes in is larger than would be expected elsewhere. But this is what they do here. I can't begin to comment on whether it's right or wrong. All I can say is here, from what I've seen, it works. So let's go and have a little bit of a closer look and see what they're up to. So Mr. Rene, under the watchful gaze of lead foreman Manny and engineer Raphael, is doing what they term here as the dry packing. So this is just cement mix, sand and water. And you might be able to make out why it's called dry packing. There is a pretty limited amount of water that goes into this mixture. It is really quite dry. And all the way along, they've got the rubber mallet and they're tapping into place to make sure there are no air bubbles underneath any of these panels. The panels themselves, it's not so relevant here, but we wanted to get something I mentioned a couple of days ago that sort of reflected the PVC panels that we've used on the master bedroom balcony. Now they're not the same colour by any means, they are much, much lighter. But we wanted something that was a kind of a wood appearance that we thought would go quite well with that PVC panel. So this is it, this is what they do. I'll come back in a moment because there's a second part to the dry pack, and that is what goes on the bottom of the tile itself. I'll show you that when they put the next one in. This is what they're using underneath the tile. So in this particular case, the brand is ABC. It's tile adhesive, and it is simply mixed with water. There's nothing else in there, and I'll show you what it looks like. Won't mean much, but there it is. That is the tile adhesive they use. They're applying that tile adhesive. Relatively, it looks like, relatively thin layer. Let's just stay with him for a little bit. I'll be quiet, just for a nice change for everybody, and see how this gets put into place. So he is making sure that the adhesive extends all the way to all of the edges. And then Elson does the heavy lifting. So Mr. Rene is just sort of test fitting or using a tile that has not got any adhesive on it to tap down, make sure that the base dry pack is flat. That will then be removed. I know this is a very long shot for this channel, but I think it's worth showing the whole process here. If you notice a cut in this segment, I decided it was too long, so I might skip a little bit. We'll see though. We'll stay with it for now.
Neng, aduh dingin nih.
Oh, okay. So they're going to put, it looks like,
Okay.
2 tiles down. I'm pretty sure that first one had no adhesive on it. I could be wrong. Let's just move around a bit. Yeah, it was just a test fit. And in it goes. And as you can see, like with, I suspect, almost any tiling, the joins are offset, so you don't have them, 2 of them ending at the same point. Right, there's going to be a lot of tapping down here. I will come back in just a moment. I was wrong. Almost immediately, you got the spirit level out. Checking both across the 2 different tiles and then lengthways along the tile. So just making sure that everything is level. Now, of course, one thing we did ask for is actually not to have this floor level. So I need to just recheck that to make sure that we do have a very slight slope going from near the house to the outside edge to carry water away. So I just reminded the engineer of that requirement for a slope, and he nodded his head and said yes there will be, and looks at me like I was a complete dummy because I've already asked that question before. But there will be a slight slope from the house outwards. That's it. That is the process they use here for laying, well, at the very least these tiles, but I think the same process is followed whether it's outside on a patio like this or whether it's inside. I just asked what was the expected amount of time to cover an area like this. Now, if it was as simple as just laying whole tiles down, they would finish it today. But because, of course, certain tiles have to be cut to come to the right size, the estimate is that this will be finished at some point tomorrow. What you can also see are these rebar sticking up on the edge, and that is going to be used just as the starting point for the balcony walls, which will be glass. There is apparently no need for any kind of base layer of concrete hollow blocks. The glass walls will just go directly into the flooring. In Sabrina's room, Owen is also using sandpaper, clearing up any excess on that mud and tape. And next it's paint, next layer is paint. Looking good. In Alex's room, Manny's got the laser level out and he's just marking out the elevation of flooring. But it's not just flooring. If it was the flooring level, this would be a very big step up and a very tiny room. This is also measuring up to 1 meter for the height of cabinets. So here it's 105 because they haven't put any flooring in, and because, as with all the wet rooms, the floor has to be a little bit lower. Generally speaking, 5 centimeters lower, so that if there is any water leak in a bathroom or in a wet room, that water hopefully is contained within that wet room. It's lunchtime. I just looked back at that last few clips about these tiles, and there was one thing I missed, but there's also something new up here. The new thing, it's not that easy to make out, but down here we have these little tiny, almost like pins, separators, which just keep the tiles all equally distant apart while they're setting, and leave the correct gap for the grout that will come later. That grout will be a light brown colour. And I'll show you what I missed. It's a bucket of dirty water. Actually, it's a bucket of water with a little tiny bit of cement mixed in. And they use that first, before they put down the dry pack, as a little adhesive layer for the dry pack onto the flooring. You can just about, if you've got your dizzy pills close, take one. You can kind of see it over here, where you can see the wet area. That's what that is. They've also cut out for a drain over here, and after lunch, when they're not resting, I'll show you the rather nifty little tool that they use that allows them to make these cuts to the correct size. Something new in George's bathroom are these wooden, I think plywood panels that I believe may be only temporary. I'm not sure about that. But one of their functions is a guide to where the cabinets will be placed. So you can see marked out on the wall where this corner cabinet with the wash basin will go. And they've marked out a line at the bottom of that. So I guess these panels, in part, may be a supporting feature for that, but they mark out generally where the level of things is going to be. It's nothing to do with tile heights, because all of these walls will be fully tiled. There'll be no paint on these walls. Back in the master bedroom walk-in closet, they have got these guides in place for the topping, the screed. One thing the eagle-eyed amongst you may notice is these are considerably higher than the ones that we saw previously in other bedrooms. The reason for that is because they need to elevate this floor a little bit more. And the reason for that is because this bathroom, the way the slab was poured, they were not able to do a cutout for the bathroom floor area as they did in all the other bathrooms to allow them to pour the slab a little bit lower. So in order to have still that roughly 5 centimetre drop in depth in a wet room, as they can't go down inside there, they're going up just here. I think it will be hardly noticeable. It is literally 5 centimetres. Yes, we've lost a bit of height in here, but it's tiny. So that's what is behind the fact that these are all considerably higher than the ones that went before. There is every chance that this video is going to be monstrously long. So I'm going to try something we've never done before. I'm going to stop the video now. It's already going to be not too far shy of 20 minutes, I think. So you've got the option. You can say, all right, seen enough, thank you very much. We've seen how the tiling begins. Done for the day. Or, if you so choose, there will be a second video coming out later. I have to be honest, a little bit of the reason for this is also to help me, because if I try and load a very long video, it'll take forever to get uploaded. So there you go. That is the end of half of day 234. If you want to see more of today's high adventures and this marvellous thing called finishing that has begun, stick around. Another video coming. Hopefully, see you then.